Hey everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Be sure to check out Motor Coach World's new Facebook page. On there, I'll be posting regular updates and pictures of my life in the motor coach world, as well as video clips of other cool bus-related things. Facebook.com/motorcoachworld. Link is down in the description box below. And now, on with today's video. Hey, what is going on, all of you bus nuts, geeks, and enthusiasts out there? Welcome to another episode of Motor Coach World. My name is James. In the US, motor coach companies have many choices when it comes to what brand of coach bus to purchase. You have Setra, Irizar, Temsa, and several other smaller names that aren't as prevalent. But the three largest players in the US motor coach market are MCI, Prevost, and Van Hool. These are the three brands of coach bus one would see most commonly cruising up and down the interstates and streets here in the US. Today, we're going to take a closer look at Van Hool as a company, the coaches they offer here in the US, and how they came to be such a large and well-known coach manufacturer, not just in the US, but all over the world. Born in 1902 in Koningshoekt, Belgium, Bernard grew up having a strong interest in mechanics, construction, as well as electrical. Bernard married his wife Bertha van Ascht in 1928, and together they had 10 children, 8 sons and 2 daughters, and they started a diamond cutting business. Bernard was very fond of the concept of working as a team and taught his children from a young age that they could achieve much more as a team together than separately, as well as the value of diversity. But by the 1930s, the clouds of war were building on the horizon in Europe. Being a savvy businessman, Bernard quickly realized that the market for luxury items, such as diamonds, would be the first to fall in the times of war. So Bernard started a different company that made brooding machines, which I had to look up because until today I had no idea what a brooding machine was. So a brooding machine are machines that are designed to house baby chicks from 1 day old until they no longer need supplementary heat, which is about 8 weeks old. One heck of a career change. But when World War II broke out, the company was inevitably destroyed, and Bernard had to start from scratch all over again. Bernard realized that it was pointless to build another company while the war was raging. But being the entrepreneur that he was, Bernard saw the dire need for transportation during the war. Bernard got a hold of a couple old trucks with the help of a mechanic and his younger brother Joseph. Bernard started a small road hauling business and provided the much needed service in Belgium during World War II. After the war ended, Bernard Van Hool continued to run his road hauling company, but Bernard aspired to do much more and knew that this was not what he wanted to do with his life. You see, Bernard had always wanted to be a road and bridge designer. He already had most of the tools and machinery to start his dream job. The only thing he didn't have was a vehicle to transport all the men to the work sites. So he found an old bus which was in very poor shape. Keep in mind, this was just after World War II, and it wasn't like you could go to your local bus dealership and put a down payment on a shiny new bus. The war had left everything pretty much destroyed, and people were just starting to rebuild. Bernard Van Hool had to practically build an entire new body for this old bus which he found, so that he could haul workers to rebuild roads and bridges. Well, in the process of rebuilding this bus so that he could start his dream job of building bridges, Bernard fell in love all over again. He became a bus nut, geek, and enthusiast.
Yes!
By 1947, Bernard Van Hool officially founded the bus building company, Van Hool. Up to this point, Bernard had built many bus frames and bodies for many bus operations all over Europe as the countries were recovering from the war. At the same time, Bernard and his brother also converted their road hauling business into a coach tour operating company. Their first bus, which they rebuilt as mentioned earlier, was named Die Trekvogel, or translated into English, Bird of Passage. But the problem was each of the coaches Van Hool built up to this point were extremely custom tailored. Now don't get me wrong, they were all expertly built with really high quality. However, there was no standardization or serial production to their coach designs, which meant that each coach they built had a unique body, unique parts, and lacked any kind of standard manuals or repair and maintenance. Bernard Van Hool recognized the importance of serial production as well as standardization of design and model if he was ever going to grow his bus building company. But to start producing a series of buses, Bernard also realized he needed specific bus manufacturing machinery similar to what was used in factory lines. Well, this was still just after the war, and anything like that was simply not available on the market during this time. But keeping in true Bernard fashion, Bernard decided to build these bus manufacturing machinery himself. This guy is kind of a go-getter. Bernard's goal was to establish his own identity and design when it came to building buses. By 1951, Van Hool, still being basically a one-man bus building company, fulfilled his first large public sector order for buses. The model was known as the Bertspoorwagen, with 10 units produced. In 1954, Van Hool changed his company name to Van Hool in Zonen PVBA, which translated to English was Van Hool & Sons Ltd, or Limited. The company at this point was no longer a one-man show. In 1962, Van Hool completed their 3,000th bus order as a coach builder. By this time, Van Hool acquired mostly large vehicle bodywork orders for exports outside of Europe. Van Hool had established themselves with a reputation of being able to take on large and special projects and having a very flexible attitude towards new ideas and special customizations. By 1984, on top of also building trucks and tankers, Van Hool had achieved some groundbreaking bus designs like the AG280, featuring a vertical engine mounted on the near side between both axles, which basically opened the door for future designs of the low-floor bus. Also in 1984, 22 revolutionary extra-wide airport apron buses were delivered to Milan Airport, which was a huge breakthrough for this type of bus design. Today, Van Hool's apron buses continue to service dozens of airports all over Europe. By this time, Van Hool had earned a reputation for innovation, design, and quality when it came to building buses. In 1987, Van Hool broke into the US coach bus market, signing an exclusive distribution agreement with ABC Companies, which is a coach bus distributor company for US and Canada. The coach that Van Hool entered the market with was the Van Hool T815. Later versions of this model were collectively known as the T8 series. Early imports of this coach used the European designation and were labeled the T815 Acron or the T815 Alacron. They came in 40 feet or 45 feet versions, or for those of you outside the US, that's 12.2 meters or 13.7 meter versions, with a height clearance of 11 feet 8 inches or 3.6 meters, and a standard width of 102 inches, which is roughly 2.6 meters wide. Later, the T815s were redesignated to the T840, which represented the 40-foot models, and the T845, which represented the 45-foot length models. The T-Series coaches were offered with the Cummins L10 diesel engines, and later versions used the Cummins M11 diesels, and both were outfitted with Allison transmissions. In 1995, Van Hool introduced the T9 series touring coaches to the US. Not to be confused with the T9 series Van Hool created for its European market, as Van Hool had a completely different T9 model for Europe. They were totally not the same bus. Now I'm going to focus on US coach market for Van Hool in this video, so if you want to find out more on the European T9s, you can check them out on Wikipedia. I will add the link down in the description box below. There were quite a few variants of them and would make for an interesting read for any of you bus nuts, geeks, and enthusiasts out there. In the US, however, the T9 series are almost visually identical to the T8 series, as well as mechanically. Incremental changes were done to the T9s as time went on. Later models of the Van Hool T9s had larger suspension airbags as well as front disc brakes instead of drum brakes. In fact, the T9s were so similar to the T8s that Van Hool's VIN number categorized the T9s to be in the same family as the T8s. In 1996, Van Hool introduced the T21 series luxury touring coach to its US market. The T21 coach chassis design was based off of the European T9 Acron, which was introduced in Europe a year earlier. Again, not to be confused with the US T9 model I mentioned earlier, which was a completely different bus. I know, it's kind of confusing.
You're confusing me! me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
With an entirely new body style, the Van Hool T21 series also offered more engine options for buyers. In addition to the Cummins M11 engine, the T21 series also offered the Detroit Series 60, as well as the Caterpillar C13 Acert engines as options. For transmission options, on top of the Allison B500 or B500R, the ZF12AS 2300BO was also added to the options list. Later models of the T21 came out with a more simplified windshield design, with only 2 windshield pieces instead of the original 3. The headlight assemblies were also replaced with individual projector lamps, and the driver's dash console was redesigned to be more consolidated. In August 2008, the T21 series was completely restyled with a lower front fascia, similar to that of the Van Hool C series coaches. The rear tail lights were soon restyled as well, updated from the original stacked rectangular design to a more modern looking design similar to that used on European models. The Van Hool T21 series was also offered in both 40 and 45 foot length options. The 40 foot version was designated the T2140 and the 45 foot version was designated the T2145. The T21 series had a clearance height of 11 feet 5 inches or 3.5 meters. In early 2000, Van Hool, in cooperation with its US distributor, ABC Companies, developed the C2000 series. US coach operators enjoyed the T21 series. However, some of the owners wanted a coach that had the same styling of the T21 series, but more basic and economical features. You could say the T21 series was just a bit too fancy for US coach operators. The first Van Hool C series coach was unveiled and launched at the 2000 United Motor Coach Association Expo in Orlando, Florida. Introduced as a lower cost coach for long distance trips, the Van Hool C20 series looked pretty similar to the T21 series. The C20 series was only offered in a 45 foot or 12 meter long chassis, which was identified as the Van Hool C2045. Its body was a standard 102 inches wide or 2.6 meters and stood at a height of 11 feet 6 inches or 3.5 meters. In 2004, the C2045 received flush mount passenger windows for a sleeker look. In 2006, Van Hool introduced another body style update to the C2045, which was then redesignated the Van Hool C2045E, the E indicating it being the newer body style. The C2045E offered new triangle-shaped headlight clusters that had hinged covers, instead of the original 3 lights aligned horizontally. The body also had more sweeping lines over the fenders and a newer looking rear end with an option for a rear window. On the inside, the new C2045E replaced the rows of fluorescent cabin lighting with small round LED light fixtures, which also had a green night light embedded within. Later models of the C2045E also offered an interior design option that allowed for larger TV monitors. In 2011, the C2045E received further updates as Van Hool offered the Skyview glass roof option, as well as wood grain flooring, which became a trend for coach bus cabins. The luggage bay doors also received higher rub rails for increased durability, and the front steps were redesigned with a more spiral layout and reshaped steps. By 2013, Van Hool had made so many updates to the C2045E, they decided to yet again give the coach another evolution. Introduced in 2013 and replacing the C2045 by 2014 was the new Van Hool CX45. The front end of the CX45 offered a revised headlight arrangement yet again, with the addition of 2 lines of LED accent lighting. The rear end also received a more significant update in comparison to that of the C2045E. Along with new body lines, a new rear window design, the taillights were simplified to round LED clusters embedded inside a red bezel. The interior of the CX45 also featured newer parcel rack design with blue LED night lighting, as well as new passenger service sets with backlit buttons. The CX45 is currently Van Hool's latest model for the C Series and is only offered in a 45-foot version or 13.7 meters. Engine and transmission-wise, a buyer can choose from the Detroit DD13 12.8 liter with 450 horsepower or the Cummins X12 11.9 liter with 455 horsepower, paired with either an Allison B500R or a ZF 12-speed transmission. From the ashes of World War II, Bernard Van Hool never stopped innovating and exploring. From a one-man show, Bernard Van Hool got the world's attention and put the spotlight on his bus designs. Throughout Bernard Van Hool's life, he had a motto that he was remembered for. Building is my life. To keep on building is your task. The way is ahead. In 1974, while visiting a building exhibition in Brussels, where he was looking for information on the latest construction developments, Bernard Van Hool passed away unexpectedly. Today, Van Hool's buses can be seen commonly going up and down the road all over the world. And even with such a large operation, Van Hool is still a family-owned company, currently managed by his 8 sons, who carry his legacy onward till this day. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to check out Motor Coach World's new Facebook page, facebook.com/motorcoachworld. Again, here I'll be posting regular updates and pictures of my life in the motor coach world, as well as videos and clips of other cool bus-related things. Link will be down in the description box below. If you're watching this, you are part of the motor coach world.